Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz received a major endorsement in the race for the White House. The Teamsters National Black Caucus Executive Board announced the endorsement in a news release that was posted on Facebook. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien delivered a speech at the Republican National Convention last month, sparking speculation over whether the union would endorse Donald Trump for president. Now, he said they were going to be waiting until after the Democratic convention to actually make that particular endorsement. But the Black Caucus of the Teamsters said, looking at the accomplishments of Vice President Harris, they also detail how Donald Trump has undermined workers' rights. Joining us right now is the chair of the Black Caucus, James Curbeam. He joins me now in this exclusive. Glad to have you here, James. So, is this normal? Have you guys ever done this before where the caucus endorses before the actual leadership of the union?
I have to say, to my knowledge, the caucus has never endorsed a candidate. The caucus is normally always just went out and worked with the local unions. I have to say, with the high priority and the concerns that we have in this country, this caucus has decided to endorse this year for the first time.
Walk us through this. What were these conversations like for y'all to make this stunning decision?
Well, it's been an issue since last year. Ever since the Republicans actually nominated, I say last year, ever since the talk of Donald Trump running again, it has been a concern to our members, especially to myself and other leaders in the organization, and it wasn't taken lightly. And I have to say that we're not beholden to no one organization, and we are and will hold all politicians accountable. And we have expressed that this endorsement to Harris and Walz is not just I would say nothing that has been taken lightly, nor should it be taken for granted, because we do plan on holding our candidates accountable. That's Harris and Walz. But we're 100% behind them, but we are holding them accountable, and we have expressed this is not an endorsement to take for granted.
Look, a lot of labor organizations are backing the Democratic ticket. And let's be honest, you've got a lot of Teamsters out there. Even though Biden-Harris saved the pensions, more than 600,000 Teamsters, even though this has been called the most pro-union president in a very, very long time, you've got a lot of white Teamsters out there who support Donald Trump. And so it's interesting that you would have Trump, who's constantly attacking unions. I mean, he did a call the other day with Elon Musk where he praised him for firing union workers. And so talk about that racial schism that is real in terms of here you are, the Black Caucus of the Teamsters, knowing full well you've got some white Teamsters brothers out there who support Republicans, even though those Republicans vote against unions.
Yes, indeed, brother. We got some white brethren that actually do support Donald Trump, but we do have a lot of white brethren and sisters that don't support him. And sadly to say, we have some of our black brothers and sisters that support Donald Trump. But as the Teamsters National Black Caucus, we look to educate and engage not only our black Teamster sisters and brothers, but our white sisters and brothers, and every Teamster that we can reach, we're going to get out in the streets and pound it and educate, engage, and encourage our members to vote the right way, and that's the Harris-Walz campaign. That's the only ticket that's for labor. And as you say, the Biden administration, Biden-Harris administration, they bailed out Central States. They bailed out the New England Pension Fund, the Upstate New York Pension Fund, and I could keep going on and on. And I'm dearly touched about the Central States Pension Fund, because that's the fund that I was in under Yellow Freight, which, as you know, Yellow Freight went belly up.
And one of the things that your executive board has looked at, again, is Donald Trump in his totality, how he has treated folks, what he has said about labor, but also when you look at his business record, not paying small business owners, cheating folks out of what he owed. So y'all weren't just looking at, okay, what he's saying today. You were looking at this man in his whole career.
In everything that he's done. What did he do to the federal workers ripping their rights away? Look what he done to the workers in the marijuana industry. Look what he done into the NLRB and his appointments. Donald Trump is no friend of labor. He'll tell anybody anything that he think would get him a vote. And we're not going to be fooled by him. We're not going to be fooled by him and his slick talk and, pat on the back and talk about what he's going to do now. And that, as he say, black workers, he got black jobs. And it ain't about black jobs. It's about all jobs in America. And my question to him, what is a black job? And I would like to just say also, yesterday our executive board voted unanimously to endorse the Harris-Walz campaign. This morning, our membership voted unanimously also.
What size is your membership?
We had right at 560 delegates in here this morning that voted.
Have you heard from your Teamsters president? Have you heard from any of the leadership regarding this endorsement?
No, I talked to a couple of vice presidents. But no real communications. I say this first and foremost. I respect our General President Sean O'Brien, General Secretary Treasurer Fred Zuckerman, and that entire executive board. And I would say it's not about no one person or any of us overall in this union. It's about the entire labor movement. It's about our kids. It's about our future. We cannot go backwards. I know what my ancestors went through to get to where we are today. We're fighting for the soul of America, and that's part of our theme of this conference. I got to make sure I'm leaving something behind for my daughters in this future. And I know if we don't elect the Harris team in this election, they're going to be set back for decades.
What are your plans in terms of ground game? I mean, obviously, beating the streets. You've got 7 critical battleground states. You got a city like Milwaukee where you had a 50,000 voter drop off in 2022 compared to 2020. So how do y'all plan? I mean, endorsement is one thing, but what about boots on the ground? What are y'all plans there?
We plan on working not only just in the Teamsters National Black Caucus, talking to Teamster members, but we're looking to engage in our communities, our family, also with other labor organizations and community groups throughout the battleground states, and also every city that we have a Teamsters National Black Caucus chapter in.
All right, James Curbeam, we certainly appreciate you joining us for giving us this interview. With regards to this, your first interview discussing this endorsement. We certainly appreciate you coming on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. I want to go to my panel right now and bring them in here. A. Scott Bolden, attorney based out of Washington, D.C. Robert Patillo, host, People, Passion, Politics, News and Talk 1380, WALK out of Atlanta. Jolanda Jones, Texas State Representative, and also a lawyer there in Houston. Glad to have all three of you here. Scott, I want to start with you. This is highly unusual for the caucus to make this move before the actual Teamsters. I love their independence.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to see this dichotomy in all the major unions. Donald Trump, because that working class, those MAGA supporters, he got a lot of support in these unions, even though it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But you're going to see these splits. But your best question to him was, okay, what comes with the endorsement? Is it money? Is it boots on the ground? Is it go-to-V? Are you partnering with other unions to do a ground game in the swing states or where you're needed most? Because in the end, the endorsement means something, but it doesn't mean as much as what's the action that comes behind it. Having been chair of the Democratic Party, having run for office myself, the endorsement is the first part. The second part, and the most important part, is what are you going to do? And so they look like they're going to put boots on the ground, because if it's a close race, I think she's going to pull away by 3-5 points. But if it's a close race, get out the vote is king and queen on election day.
You know, what jumps out here for me, Jolanda, is, and we got to deal with the reality of race. And that is, you have these white union workers, white men who are hardcore conservatives and Republicans who literally vote against their own interest in supporting Republicans who don't stand up for unions. 2016, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton by 450,000 votes in Ohio because he kept talking about getting rid of NAFTA. And that appealed to a lot of those union workers. I remember 2008, where you had white union bosses who literally had to address the issue of racism head on, telling their white members, you're going to vote for Barack Obama. And so we can't deny the reality that exists when you look at a lot of these states where you have these white men who are conservative, who will support Donald Trump, even though the Republicans want to crush unions.
Well, at the end of the day, they white before they union. I mean, it's just that simple. And I agree with you. Why would you continue to vote against your interests? But it's just really interesting. My mother said you can't tell who people are in good times. You can only tell who they are in bad times. And my mother also told me, don't be surprised when white people are white. So this is exactly what this is. We can look back when Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton. White women picked a pussy-grabbing white man over someone who was them. They voted against their interest. So I'm excited to see that the Black Caucus of the Teamsters were courageous enough to come out and support us, because if we don't support us, who is going to support us? So I'm a union kid. My mother was a union steward, and my grandfather was a union member. And I know for a fact that companies will crush people who are not able to organize. And we just heard Trump with Elon Musk congratulate Musk when he literally fired people who were striking for better wages. So I don't understand it, but I'm thankful that black folks are standing up. And I'm particularly thankful that we have a black man who is the face of the Black Caucus, because if Trump would have his way with his lying self, he would be saying that black men don't support Kamala, and they absolutely do.
Robert, this is a headline from the Associated Press. Biden releasing nearly $36 billion to aid pensions of union workers. These are existing workers, retirees. I mean, my goodness, if you are a Teamsters, and 600,000 of those folks are Teamsters, if you're one of those Teamsters folks, I would think you want to go with somebody who saved your ass.
You know, it's funny. We often hear from our black conservative friends, y'all got to get off the Democratic plantation. What are they doing for you? But we have to start asking that same question of poor white people in this country, because they've been voting conservative basically since the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And what has it done for their communities? You continue to vote for Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Bob Dole, all the way down the line. But yet and still, if you go to rural white America, the community has been destroyed. They're living in squalor. And the question has to be asked, just as they often ask of us, well, what exactly are you getting for your vote? What are you demanding from these individuals? They're selling you patriotism, and they're giving these corporations tax breaks. They're selling you red, white, and blue. They're selling to Elon, we'll help you bust the unions. We'll help you avoid any kind of regulations. And if you don't think that's true, just look at either Project 2025, Agenda 47, or the 20-point plan that Trump released earlier this week, regarding what his agenda is in office. It's all about destroying unions. It's all about getting rid of regulations. It's about the Supreme Court overturning Chevron deference, so you no longer have to follow the requirements of federal agencies. It's about resetting the clock so that corporations and multimillionaires and billionaires can get even richer on the backs of poor Americans. And when we talk about things like NAFTA, remember Trump got rid of NAFTA and replaced it with something even worse than NAFTA, the USMCA, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement, which helped drain even more jobs from America and even more products across the border. So When we're talking about people voting for their enlightened self-interest, we have to have the same conversations with white America that we often talk about black America having, and saying what exact Republican policies are supporting you and helping you get out of the conditions that you are in. Do you really want fracking and your water to catch on fire? Do you really want them to be able to bust unions, getting rid of collective bargaining, getting rid of the 40-hour work week that you have proposed? Or are you going to do something about it and actually vote for the things that benefit yourself and your families, not just on the culture war?
Yeah, they love talking to black people about the plantation, and you got these white folks who vote hardcore Republican, and they still broke as hell.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.